All right, and welcome to Fast Break Breakfast NBA podcast. My name is Keith Parish, and I'm here once again with my buddies through the miracle of computer phone. I'm here with Dave DuFour. Dave, how are you?
Fantastic.
Coach him up.
And that voice you just heard was Jon Burr. Jon, welcome back for season 11, episode 2, Western Conference, Bestern Conference, over-unders. How's your day been going?
Truly best Western this time. It's been a good day. It's already been a long day, but just preposterous, but that's how life goes sometimes. But I did eat breakfast, by Jove.
Do you want to, just get right into it. What's your breakfast, Jon?
I ate at a place called the Red Rooster, and I had the Red Rooster, which strangely is not a chicken meal, but a country ham meal. I made inquiries. I made inquiries, and I could have substituted chicken if I felt that passionately about it. Is what I basically found out.
Interesting.
From a not too nice waiter.
I'm not bothered by that because the name of the restaurant isn't like the Red Chicken or something. I mean,
sure.
Seems like Rooster. You could be. I'm not bothered if you're like, hey, is this not Rooster?
Right.
Terry Taylor invent this thing, or?
Oh, Dave, you don't know what world you're stepping into. You're right on point. When I said I had some pop culture stuff for you, you stepped right into it.
Well, I hope it's not too pop, man, because as you know, I basically watch basketball and movies from the 90s.
Oh, man, movies from the 90s. We didn't know how well we had it.
Oh, no. We did not. When Wesley Snipes was cooking, that was when life was good. We peaked.
Always bet on black.
I think I've said it many times. Under Siege would be an art film. If it came out today, it would be like it would win like 8 Oscars. And back in the day, it was like, this is kind of a fun, just entertaining action movie. And now you're like, this has nuance.
Yeah.
I think it has
57. Passenger 57 being exactly an hour and a half long, right? It's like, it's a movie that just gets to the beats, gets to the parts from the trailer that you were excited to see, like really fast.
By the way,
the only way it could be more perfect is if it was 57 minutes long. Also, I think Under Siege has multiple Oscar winners in it.
Well, I'm dying for Passenger 58.
I would say almost everyone who is in Under Siege that hasn't won an Oscar. That would be the better question. Breaking news:
Erica Alenia coming out of the cake. Seminal moment. And
seminal moment for lots of people. Breaking news: Trey Murphy has signed an extension with the Pelicans, a team we're going to talk about today. The Pelicans. Also, Moses Moody got a little extension done for the Warriors, another team we're going to talk about today. So, Jon, we already did your breakfast. You had the Red Rooster. Dave, what was your breakfast?
I'm still on the oatmeal. Pumpkin.
Goat meal.
It sounds good.
Nutmeg, cinnamon.
Ooh.
Cloves.
It's not broken. Don't fix it.
Right.
My breakfast.
I've been adding almond butter though.
There you go. My breakfast, very simple, plain Cheerios, no milk, some sliced up strawberries. I don't feel good. I'm sick. I'm actually not going to work today. This is sort of work. I'm not leaving my house to go to work, which is bad because I don't get paid money if I don't go to work. It's a gig economy lifestyle. It's like, oh yeah, things are good. I'm making a lot of money as long as I'm not sick. And now I'm sick. And so
I think there's like no way to win because there's like there's gig economy. And then there's like, I don't know if you guys have ever had a job like this where it's like unlimited vacation.
Oh yeah.
What that means is
you better not take vacation.
Ever go on vacation.
Yeah.
Well, it's unpaid leave.
Yeah.
Essentially. I've seen the articles. I've never in my life had paid vacation. So I wouldn't know anything about it, but I've definitely read the articles about how the scam of unlimited vacation. It's like you will get fired.
Huge scam. When people say I have some upcoming PTO, it always takes me like 15 minutes to figure out that means paid time off. I'm like part-time officiating.
Is this some kind of parent-teacher organization?
Yeah, that's right.
Meeting that you're attending.
I just can't get there. It's never going to sit well with me.
So we're moving quickly, which is probably good since we have a big show. We've got to cover 15 teams in the Western Conference. So those were our breakfasts. Let's go ahead and get into it. After our breakfasts come our breakfast in bed Apologies. This is our chance to make right what we might have gotten wrong in a previous episode. It's frequently the first time we talk about the NBA, which the show is about. It doesn't have to be just about the NBA. Again, we're just a few minutes in. I don't mind making more small talk, but there are some things we could apologize for. I'll go with one. Sabrina Ionescu, I was not familiar with your game. 1 for 19?
1 for 19.
1 for 19?
I think it's actually pronounced Ionescu House.
Okay, sorry. I had the game on mute. I'm trying to jump on the bandwagon with everybody. WNBA just completed their season, massive season for the league, absolutely exploding in popularity. I'm like,
60 to 60 overtime finish.
I'm like, this is a winner take all finals game. Yeah, I'll watch this. I had it on mute though. And I randomly look up and I see the graphic on the screen and it's like Ionescu 0 for 13. And I was like, hey now. 0 for 13 in a deciding finals game of one of the only players I've heard of. And it was what an entertaining
Mamba mentality
rock fight. I mean, finishing 1 for 19, it was shades of this box score I've seen many times. This was before I was born. But Dennis Johnson of the Seattle Supersonics infamously went 0 for 14 in a game 7. The Sonics lost to the Bullets. And I've always been like, 0 for 14? In a game
Those are the
7?
types of performances where the Boston Celtics can then trade for you for pennies on the dollar.
Yeah, I mean, they got a discount. They got a great player. But I was
Didn't
stunned.
she take a logo shot while being like 0 for 8?
Well, she hit a deep one to make her, was it 1 for 15 or 1 for 14?
1 for 19, right?
But then she finished 1 for 19. I was stunned. Also, this WNBA Finals.
Dion Waiters 0 for 30.
I mean, it was John Stark's tribute. It was, you can imagine Daryl Morey filling out the binder, the report that says technically based on analytics that they won the game.
Okay. Well, if we're going to go there,
let's go there.
My links got robbed here.
They
come on.
I think they got jobbed.
They got jobbed. I mean, New York is not really that important, guys. Like Brianna Stewart, not only does she take a hop, skip, and a jump with the basketball before there's ever any contact, that was a clean block.
I had
unbelievable
watching
to watch that replay and not revert. And now listen. The Minnesota Lynx, I'm not a fan. I like that team, and I just was rooting for them. It was fun.
All of us are total casuals, just tuning in to watch the finals, and we were like,
could not believe.
Never seen a minute.
I could not believe. I've watched a lot of WNBA. I have watched a lot of WNBA, but I'm just a fan. I'm just watching. The fact it didn't reverse that, oh my God. The NBA is so jealous of that call right there. Man, that was just in our face.
The commissioner. What they should have done,
I learned watching college football, you throw trash on the field until they reverse the call.
It's insane.
The
Which
commissioner,
one was the crazier call, John?
In the post-game award ceremony, was wearing a New York dress of the city's skyline, which feels untoward, right? That feels untoward.
Did she make a wardrobe change?
Maybe she had both options.
Did she have a lake costume, or was she going to dress as a mermaid?
She had a Latrell Sprewell Old Milwaukee yacht dress that she would have.
She was going to come out shaking PJ Carlissimo.
Sex boat. Fred Smoot's sex boat.
The uncalled travel. Now we've seen this before in last 2-minute reports. Where I'm pretty sure if there's a last 2-minute report, it would have said she bobbled the ball. That's always the out where the referees are like, oh yeah, she juggled the ball. But it appeared to be a blatant travel. The thing about the defender not being in a legal guarding position, as a referee defender, I didn't see it. Also, it seems like so many of the NBA's foul challenges and things that they start going into the incidental contact didn't really affect, the rhythm, balance, whatever. It looked like the defender beat her to any spot and there was no hand contact. It was just hip to hip contact. I was very surprised.
Yeah.
It was a tough way to go down.
You know what they say?
Yeah.
Controversy creates cash.
That's true.
This is why I'm anti-replay in general.
Oh yeah.
Imagine if they just make the call. The broadcast shows the replay. The referees are safe. Hey, we just, they missed it in real time. We don't have the benefit of
you
replay.
Say bang, bang,
like
play.
You guys do at home. We did our best. and this is what we got. And then we're still doing the same complaint thing, but without them rubbing our nose in it. So kill the replay.
My wife was reading a book while I had these sports on, and it came down to that final like 5 seconds. I'm like, hey, I was like, look, it's 5 seconds to go for the title. And she said, I didn't know you liked this sport. And then I'm like, but look, 5 seconds to the title. So she looks up.
Valid question.
So yeah, no, good, fair point by her. She looks up and is like, fine, I will watch this sort of interesting play, but then it goes into a multiple minute replay review back into the book. She's like, well, I don't clearly, who could possibly care enough about this to sit through multiple minutes of replaying the call? Well, anyways, speaking of controversy, Dave, last episode, I don't know if you've had any feelings about maybe the most repeated thing that you said that's been repeated to me over the last week.
No. What did I say?
People are coming out of the woodwork about your Tobias Harris.
Yeah.
People are coming out of the woodwork being like, hey, man, that coach Dave really likes Tobias Harris.
I mean, it isn't even that I like Tobias Harris all that much. It's just the rest of those guys are not nearly as good.
All right.
So, yeah.
The ultimate arbiter of truth is where are these players drafted in fantasy, and Tobias Harris is going before those other guys we named, Keith. So I think we have to see the argument.
Speaking about fantasy drafts, I don't know why Tobias Harris would go ahead of Cade Cunningham in anybody's fantasy draft. Speaking of fantasy draft, John, I participated in 4 fantasy drafts this year.
That was my apology. Sorry.
Your apology could be drafts. Both you and Dave were part of the negative fantasy league. By the way, huge thank you to all the Patreon supporters. We had 40 people. We have 40 people in this year's negative fantasy league. Much. I lowered the rosters down from 10 to 9
to 2
because I thought drafting 400 players was excessive. But yeah, you can apologize for one not being in the draft, and also neither one of you correctly setting your auto draft order. I had to manually change every one of your picks because it was going by average draft position, not fantasy points.
In my defense, I thought that when I ignored your texts about the iShop League, that was me saying, please delete my team.
No,
I now see the error of my ways.
John, we can't go from, first of all, the goal was to get 40 teams. I'm not voluntarily going back down to 39. Also, 39 creates the unbalanced schedule. Would have been a nightmare.
I mean, I get it. I just, if I had known if I had known what these rosters were going to look like after you showed me your team, I would have talked you out of this.
So
we're split it into 2 leagues or something.
So did 1 negative fantasy draft. I did 3 normal fantasy drafts. And
did your marriage get annulled after this? Like, how did you
pull this off? It hasn't been a great week. But the enthusiasm that I'm sensing makes me nervous because, John, in all 3 of my fantasy drafts where there were a fair number of Grizzlies fans, the auction prices for John Morant were not very high. I thought this is sky high enthusiasm for the comeback. This guy went for like $60, $70 in previous Fast Break Breakfast listener leagues. He's going for modest, like $34. That's just a normal rate. Well,
there's a Zach Edey market correction. How do you spend $60 on Josh?
I ended up with Jaren Jackson Jr. in multiple leagues. I was like, normally I can't get my Grizzlies players. Although in one league, DeAnthony Melton was nominated 10th. No, DeAnthony Melton was nominated like 10th. And then Kyle Anderson was nominated 13th. So that part of doing a listener league, we're like, oh, these people like the same guys I like.
Derrick Rose goes out.
Finally, my apology. I do have an apology. Earlier this year, when we did our butter or parquet previews for the Western Conference, I had a controversial, this is yet more controversy. I had a controversial question. I was asking Dave about the Dallas Mavericks. And I said, how sure are we that Klay Thompson at this point of his career is significantly better than Tim Hardaway Jr.? And that's just an offensive question. And it was probably born out of my hatred or just being a hater of Klay Thompson. It was a dumb thing for me to say because in the preseason, Tim Hardaway Jr. only made 17% of his field goal attempts, which was significantly worse than Klay Thompson, who made 24% of his field goal attempts in the preseason. So huge difference between Klay shooting 24% and Tim Hardaway Jr. shooting 17%. So I'm sorry.
I should note Tim Hardaway Jr. also way worse than Tobias Harris.
that part, very true. I think now we can actually get into the over unders. Not a lot more to hit. I would say if you want to support this program, get access to bonus content, play in our fantasy leagues, and also join the Slack channel. You do all of that at patreon.com. Sign up over there, patreon.com/Fastbreak Breakfast. All right, it is now time for the Western Conference over unders. This is the 11th time John and I have done these over unders. We're very excited to continue doing them. Before we get going, just a list of our bona fides, our record of picking against the over unders in previous seasons. All-time records, John, you are 171, 120, and 3. I am 165, 126, and 3. But the true magic is when we put our heads together. Whenever we have 2/3 people pick one side in the history of our show, we have a 186, 113, and 3 record. That is a 62.9% winning percentage, which is very good. Whenever we are unanimous on our picks, 84 and 40, that's a 67.7% win percentage. I would also like to say over the past 6 seasons, I am 60, 29, and 1 on just the Western Conference. So I've been killing it on the Western Conference. I've been awful on the Eastern Conference. So with that preamble, let's go about the Western Conference. I kind of wanted to go reverse alphabetical to mix it up, but then it turns out alphabetically all the worst teams are at the end. So I don't know. Should we start with the Jazz or should we start with the Mavericks? Dave, what do you think?
Let's start with the Jazz.
Okay. Reverse alphabetical it is. So the Utah Jazz right now, I'm going to say what I predicted their wins to be, and then I'm going to give you the Vegas over-under. In previous seasons, I did not have any idea what the over-unders were going to be. This year, I'd seen many of them, although some of them still surprised me. Anyways, I picked the Jazz to win 31 games this year, which turns out is a massive over. Their over-under is 28.5. Everyone believes that they're just going to shut it down again. I kind of think they're going to get to 31 wins before they shut it down. What do you guys think? John, what's your feeling on over or under 28.5 wins for the Utah Jazz?
I wish we'd start with any other team because I think this is the hardest one. Because I feel like they have an excellent coach.
Yep.
I feel like they have pretty good players, but I feel like there is an assignment here.
Yeah.
And it just depends on how fully throated we're going to approach. The Danny Ainge factor confuses me a little bit because sometimes you think that they're going to do one thing and then the next thing you know they have Isaiah Thomas and are in the playoffs. So I think I'm going to. You said it's 29 wins?
28.5. Yeah. 29 wins is an over. I feel like they can get to 29 wins. No problem. They were 500 at home last season.
Yeah.
So
to me,
stuff.
I'm going to take the over, and then I want to pause it to Dave in the form of an analogous question. Dave, I'm gonna compare each team to other athletes and other endeavors, particularly the king of sports. If you know what I mean, I think you do. I view the Utah Jazz as the jobber to the stars of the NBA. Do you think that the Utah Jazz are more of a Blue Blazer, Owen Hart type situation, or more of a Brad Armstrong type situation?
Oh, see, now this is a great one because
Keith is going to be silent for a while.
Owen Hart's
yes.
a nice mid-Carter, right? Play-in guy. If we're saying that at his peak, right? So you put him in the mask, you have him go on his back, put some guys over because he's such a great athlete. and keeps them out of the play-in. I think, yeah, they're a blue blazer for sure. Utah, like they won 31 last year. The big thing is they just need to, not be in the outside of the top 10.
Right. Top 10 protected pick. Top 10 protected pick. They can't mess around.
Cast.
Right.
Yeah.
So they have to, pretty much pull the plug at some point. And I think their whole goal this year is to see, okay, is Keontae George a guy? What does Cody Williams look like? Can we move Sexton? They're going to be trying to reshuffle and hoping that they can land a high lottery pick. I mean, this 2025 draft, all the draft guys that I'm talking to are very into it. So I'm assuming that Utah, this is year one, right, where they want to really get in there, get a pick, and then maybe next year they're trying to be a play-in team.
Yep. So
that's a good analogy.
So you're taking the under?
I'm taking the under.
All of these wrestling analogies are going to be useless to me. Hopefully our listeners find them illuminating.
I know.
I kept Owen Hart in there because people know who he is because he died on live pay-per-view television.
Yeah, sadly.
So the weapon that Danny Ainge can deploy beyond just benching Markkanen is just depending on their young guards. I mean, they are starting Keontae George. If Keontae George is good, well, guess what? The Jazz are going to win more than 28 and a half games. Maybe they turn over.
He also might shoot 30% for the year.
Yeah. And they turn over to Isaiah Collier, who also might be terrible. But it's just like they have a lot of young guards they can play. They have very few small forwards. It's a very weird roster. So I don't feel good.
There's another thing, though. The West is so stacked, and all of these teams, like there's so many teams that are competing, right? And Utah is not going to be competing for the play-in. So at some point,
can I change mine?
They'll pull the plug.
Absolutely.
I'm going
to go under also.
Yeah.
I mean 30 wins in a tankathon is kind of a lot.
There's going to be a lot of 48 win teams, 49 win teams in the West, and I don't think Utah is going to be able to get to 28.
Well.
Yeah.
After the Jazz ruin Mike Grizzlies watch party on Wednesday, the Wednesday night opening night watch party in Nashville, Tennessee at Noble's Beer Hall. Once the Jazz ruined that one by winning their season debut, they only have to get 27 more wins. So I feel like this is, I don't know. Oh, sorry, 28 more wins. All right. So 2/3 under on the Jazz. The San Antonio Spurs.
You went over, Keith?
I'm sticking with my over on the Jazz.
Okay.
The San Antonio Spurs, I will say, on a lot of these over-under totals, it turns out, like I frequently do, I'm riding a line on a lot of them. I'm within a half game of a lot of them. I am massively, epically under on the Spurs total. I was surprised by the Spurs total. I predicted that the Spurs would increase their wins by 9 and get up to 31 wins.
Yeah,
it turns out
that seems pretty good.
It turns out their over under is 36 and a half.
Oh my God.
This is easy lock.
Easy. Yeah.
This is real. Happening? This has to be a mistake.
Okay. Here it is. If they get to 36, 37 wins, Wemby's the MVP.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. And
so this leads me to my question for you, Dave. Are the Spurs Andre the Giant or Psycho Sid Vicious?
Oh, I'm going to say Andre.
Well, then you got to go over.
I can't do it. That's insane. Listen,
that is so many wins. That is 10 more wins than I would have fathomed.
But I had this thought the other day, and I was thinking about Chris Paul, right? He signed a $10 million deal. It's so easily movable. Doesn't this feel like a year where he's there to help caretake, get him to the deadline or whatever, and then they're going to maybe move him to a contender? Like, I keep thinking, wow, could OKC just like take Chris Paul at the deadline and maybe Chris Paul gets a ring? I'm not. This is not a team that's trying to win 30 games. They don't want to do that. This could be an experimental year, I think.
Greg Popovich hasn't won 35 games since 2019.
Come on, man. That's my Joe Biden.
I know Chris Paul and Harrison Barnes are going to raise the competence level.
Yeah.
But I don't believe in hardly any of the other players. Devin Vassell's injured. He's supposed to come back. I think Keldon Johnson is maybe.
Can he be that bad again?
Keldon Johnson is worse than Tobias Harris. And it's I don't know.
Yes.
I don't see. Also, They drafted this transformational greatest young player of all time and won 0 more games last year.
Yes.
They went from 22 wins to 22 wins. Now they're going to jump.
Imagine if they didn't have him.
Now they're going to jump 15 wins.
Plus, they got so many like bonus slender man blocks from the 3-point line plays that they're never going to get ever again because now everybody knows that he's a parademon. So it's just.
Is that what you think? I don't think so.
You think he's going to do more?
Yes,
I'm going under on his blocks.
Honestly, feel like he might get a quadruple double this season.
I think
we're going to see some
quadruple double is in play,
year, right?
But also I think people are going to retreat from him a lot more this year. They're going to do that like Jake LaRavia fast break that he did last year, where he just turned around and said, "No, thank you." Also, like you guys were saying for the Jazz, the way the Western Conference is stacked, and I have 12 teams that I would say are legitimately good in the Western Conference. And I don't think the Spurs are one of them. I have trouble conceiving how they win 37 games. So we're a unanimous.
A lot of people are doing the Spurs could make the play-in thing. And I did that as a joke during the summer. Like I was like playing with that idea. Like what if Wemby just absolutely takes, a leap to the moon, is a top 5 player, and that's just enough to be a play-in team? No way.
All right. Our next team is
Did we skip the Kings?
Did I do it wrong? Sacramento Kings are next.
Oh, I thought you said, we skip the Kings? I was like, wow.
The Sacramento Kings went winless in the preseason, which I believe there is some betting correlation. I saw Matt Moore from the Action Network saying there actually is a correlation over the past decade based on teams that went winless or undefeated. There's a correlation between how they do against their over/under win projections. But right now, direct, no. The Kings are a team that I have predicted to win 46 games. And it turns out that's an under 46 and a half.
Because they won like 45 or 46 last year. So
46.
So they won 46
I like that
last
DeRozan
year.
is worth no wins.
I honestly, what if he's worth 2 or 3 and that's built in because the West is just.
I like the Kings.
You're probably right.
I like the Kings. I have a glut of squads this year in my Western Conference predictions stuck right at 46 wins. There's a few 45, 46, 47. I think the Kings are absolutely in that glut. I like the addition of DeMar DeRozan. I think having De'Aaron Fox and DeMar DeRozan to win close basketball games is actually a huge boost for them. They have no depth in the front court, which I think is a pretty big issue. And because of that, I don't see how they're going to find their way, or at least that it's probable they end up with the 47, 48, 49 wins in this sacked West. So that's why I'm just the narrowest of unders at the 46 wins. So Dave, are you over or under?
I'm under, and similar thinking. They don't have the defensive floor that I think you need for a team that is not a super high volume 3-point team. They're fast paced team, but they're not jacking up a ton of threes. And with DeRozan,
really?
That's even going to go down.
Is that new? Because I felt like they used to be.
Look, with DeRozan, Sabonis, right? These are 2 guys who are not going to be stretching the floor for you. You're going to need a lot of Keegan Murray and a lot. De'Aaron Fox is going to have to get more threes up than I think you might even want him to, because I want him attacking the basket. I compared them a little bit to the Pacers because I do think that on any given possession, their ability to score is going to have them in a lot of games. And like you said, De'Aaron Fox and DeMar down the stretch, like that's amazing. But again, that 3-point variance, I'm worried it's going to work against them, like not having that,
John, how many wins is the beam gimmick worth
That's
on
my
its own?
point. This team has the 3 best regular season implementations that you could possibly have on a basketball team. They have the light the beam factor, which has to be worth 4 or 5 wins.
Yeah.
They have DeMar DeRozan, one of the great regular season worthless players in the playoffs of all time. And then I don't know if you guys have seen Megalopolis yet, but I assume that Game Ops is going to add the John Voight quote, "Take a look at this boner," every time Domantas Sabonis scores. And I think that's going to be worth 2 to 3 wins. So I think we're looking at a 50-win team.
So you're liking them.
An easy over.
All right.
I just think we have a lot of regular season potency here. And real quick, Dave, handsome Harley Race, the King, or Jerry the King Lawler?
Oh, Harley Race.
Okay, thought so.
I mean, you're just asking me who I liked better?
Yeah.
Harley Race. Although I give it to the King. Great suplex.
Absolutely.
So we're 2/3 under on the Kings. By the way, the Kings I have right now as 7th in my Western Conference predictions. So they're hosting a play-in game based on my predictions. The next team is the Portland Trail Blazers. They are expected to be the worst team in the Western Conference. They're already missing Shadon Sharp for a while. Now Matisse Thybulle is hurt. Not a big deal, but part of their depth. Donovan Clingan had maybe the best rookie performance in the preseason, something like 14 and 20 with tons of blocks and assists. I have the Trailblazers winning 23 games, which turns out is the narrowest of overs. Their over-under is 22.5. I think they can win 2 more games than they won last year. I mean, what if Anthony Simons just makes it through the season? So I don't know. I feel good about that over, actually, but maybe they're just going to tank the whole year, and no one has done it worse than Chauncey Billups. So, Dave, what's your thought on the Portland Trailblazers?
Again, this is another one of these teams where they're going to perform worse than the roster is, right? Like, they've got a lot of guys where I'm like, oh, I like that guy. Oh, he's a good player. It's just the organizational goals get in the way. And this stuff is murky to me, right? Like, it's this team, they could pull the plug and it wins 18 games.
Yep.
For sure. Like, Chauncey can get them there. But they also could win 25 because they've got talent. So I
think this team overachieved last year.
Yeah.
With 21
Really?
wins.
Yes.
Tumani Kamara is real. I believe in Tumani Kamara.
I'm gonna give it to y'all straight. I watch Blazers games. It's a weird habit that I've had for many years. This is as bad as they've ever been. And there's just nothing here. And Chauncey Billups is full caps the worst coach in the league.
Definitely
just not. I guess I can't say full caps because then that's similar to all cap, which means I'm lying. Well, he's bad.
So you're under. I kind of feel like I wonder what if Donovan Clingan just has a winning impact, and is that worth moving them from 19 to 22 wins, which is basically all we got to do, or 20 to 23 wins? I don't know.
You think a player drafted where Donovan Clingan has played has historically impacted a team very much if you throw out Derek Lively ever?
I think there's certain maybe floor raisers that could possibly potentially exist.
You think they're going to play him over DeAndre Ayton?
I don't know.
Much?
But I mean, DeAndre Ayton, I think, has some semblance of talent. Jeremy Grant is talented. I don't think Anthony Simons is that horrible.
You know that Jeremy Grant 2 years ago retired from playing defense.
No, he retired. He retired from playing in March and April too. He's got the best gig on the planet.
Would you take
that number's so low?
Jeremy Grant?
I would.
Jeremy Grant, is he trying? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't mind being on the over there.
You realize they're not even going to start Scoot because
that's good. That's good, right?
No,
that helps their win total.
Well, see, we're getting confused on what good is here.
Right. All
right.
Again, this is my thing, right? This is going to go the way that they want it to go.
Yep.
It has very little to do with the roster. I think.
I mean, I think they're going to be the worst team in the West. Yeah. We're just debating over
24 wins, 23 wins.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. 23 wins gets me there.
If they're the worst team in the West, it's going to be in the teens.
Our next squad is the
real
Phoenix
quick, Dave.
Sun. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Are they George South or Mike Jackson? Greatest jobbers in the history.
I gotta give it to my man George, baby. I love George South so much. Nicest guy.
Yes.
Call me sweetie all the time.
Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, sorry, Keith. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. Our next team is the Phoenix Suns.
Ooh, this could get weird.
I think they got rid of so many horrible players. I think that boosts them a lot. I made fun of them last year for having half their squad look like they're an expansion squad. They got rid of all those dudes, guys who were the Nasir Littles, the Keita Bates Jops, the Yuta Watanabes. Those guys are not even in the NBA anymore. or at least several of them got waived in the last few days. I think picking up Tyus Jones is going to boost the regular season a lot. I think
excising David Roddy.
I think Yusuf Nurkic lost a ton of weight. Have you seen him? He looks like Frank Kaminsky.
Wow.
Anyways,
Ozempic.
They have more than likely. They have, of course, the injury concerns with how old Kevin Durant is, with Bradley Beal, with Yusuf Nurkic, but I don't think it's really going to matter that much for the regular season. I think Mike Budenholzer is going to teach them how to play and teach them how to get some 3-pointers up. And I have them right now as my 5th seed in the regular season with 49 wins, which is over the Vegas line of 47.5. John, what do you think about the win total of 47.5?
So you don't think, you said all that stuff that sounded very positive.
Yep.
But I think they had 49 wins last year.
Yeah. So again, we're picking up 3 teams this year in the West that I think are good. Like the Grizzlies.
The Grizzlies are the wrench in this.
The Grizzlies are picking up 20 wins this year, probably. I think, that is going to make it. I mean, maybe the Clippers give all those wins back. More spoilers, but I still think right now, Phil, I'm fine with 49 wins. Do you think they're going to go higher? They're going to take even more wins?
No, I kind of like, I felt a disconnect between what you were saying and what your number was, but now I get it after you explained it. Yeah. This to me is the most confusing team, because I do think like organizational and ownership stuff matters a lot in hoops, more than like coaching, etc. But it's Budenholzer, the regular season GOAT.
Yeah.
And he's going to have so much fun using guys like Beal and Durant. I mean, it's so perfect for what he wants to do. But then this is like a begrudging over, because I don't want to give. It's kind of like how I don't like to give Dallas credit for their offseason. I don't want to give Ishbia credit for his offseason after they've done so much stupid stuff for so long. But I guess I'm going to go over as well.
What do you think, Dave?
What was the number? The over under?
47.5.
Yeah, I'm going to go
over. Which is
kind
of a damning under, or damning over under.
It's just a surprise. I think it's a little bit surprising. It's one where I thought. Yeah.
I think what you said is why.
If I could lay out the case here for the under, it's Kevin Durant has been hurt every year, right? And this team needs Kevin Durant, like they have no depth whatsoever. It's their starting lineup basically.
Well, they still have Grayson Allen and Royce O'Neal. Right, I like those guys as bench players.
Right, but he's banged up right now, right? Yeah. So he's starting out behind. Ryan Dunn might be a good player, but banking on a rookie offensively, right?
Bingo.
Well, I'm just saying you're banking on a rookie being good offensively. He's good defensively, right? Like that's going to help him. But and they're going to have to play him because they're going to need some defense. But I don't look. Nurkic is really not all that good.
Terrible.
And so I don't know, but that's the argument for under. I do think they've got the talent for 48, 49 wins again in the West. They're in that mix. But one thing goes wrong for them, and you can see the under hitting pretty easy. I mean, like, what if KD just is like, you know what?
When's the last time Buds lost?
Let me get a trade here.
When's the last time Buds didn't win 47 games?
That's a good question.
I have to look
at
the
system.
The Bucks.
I mean,
those blue boxes
some pretty putrid Hawks teams sending 6 dudes to the All-Star game. And then as soon as they leave, like those guys are out of the league.
I think they can. I think they can endure. You said if one thing goes wrong, I feel like they're actually pretty well set up to endure.
I think what Dave meant is the likelihood of multiple things going wrong.
Well, okay, maybe. But also, the KD thing is just huge to me. I mean, again, and hit me with this when we get to the Warriors, but like he's 36 years old.
Here's a fun stat, Dave. The last time Mike Budenholzer coached a team that won fewer than 47 games, they won the NBA title. It was a shortened season. They were 46-26 over 72 games. The last time he coached a team that won under 47 games in the regular season was the 2017-2018. Oh no, he wasn't even there. So yeah, we're going back to the Hawks. You're right. That was a Jason Kidd, Joe Prunty joint. So yeah. Good job, John. Back on
Dave,
the Hawks.
are the Suns and KD Terry Funk or Ric Flair? They refuse to go away.
Oh, you know, you can't give him. I mean, Ric Flair won too many titles to say that the Suns are Ric
sick
Flair.
burn.
So I'll
That's
go
right.
Terry
Ooh.
Funk. Although, yeah, they're entertaining. Yeah, so
Yeah,
Terry Funk.
they're entertaining.
Dave, did you plant your flag? You got a little mealy mouthed around.
Oh, I'm saying I said over. I said
Okay,
over.
make
I've
sure.
got him at like
Oh,
49.
okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we are
In Keith's defense,
unanimous.
I thought he was going under.
No. I was actually
We are
saying,
unanimous.
like, I can make the argument.
Oh,
yeah.
that feels terrible. That's totally a Budenholzer pick.
I believe in it. I'm calling it a Tyus Jones pick for me. I believe in this over.
Well, no, it's a confidence pick. It's just,
Yep.
hey, you know what? They have talent and they surrounded the talent with some confidence, right?
They are much better roster than last year.
Agreed.
That's what. That's all
if
we're
it-
saying.
If it wasn't this is the craziest year for offseason makeovers that look amazing, which means that they can't all work. But
Right.
there's so many just like completely retrofitted, remastered rosters that it's kind of insane.
So the next team up alphabetically is the presumed 1 seed in the West, the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Thunder have already faced some injury issues. Isaiah Hartenstein is going to miss several weeks? It's like a month at least,
like
I think.
5 weeks. He broke his hand, right?
So they're already back to the rebounding issues they had adding him. I have depth concerns, and I feel like I'm the only person in the world who has depth concerns about the Thunder. When I say I have depth concerns, that's why I ended up with a slight under. I still think they're the 1 seed, but I picked them to have 57 wins, which is under 57 and a half. I think when Shea misses games, they're not going to be very good. And he normally plays a ton of games, except for when they're losing on purpose. So maybe they're fine, but to get up to the 58 wins, which feels like a lot in this Western Conference where I kind of like 11 teams. That's why I'm riding the line and ended up as a slight under. John, you chastised me last episode for taking the unders on all the best teams. Do you feel confident with this one to continue your streak of taking the overs for all the best teams?
It's a high number, man.
It's a very high number.
I guess I'll talk out of both sides of my mouth now.
Sure.
I think I will take. Okay, all my concerns about the Thunder are kind of postseason concerns, though.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I know this sounds absurd, but I think that Hartenstein thing is enormous. Because I think it's going to make them stumble out of the gates potentially. Probably not enough to be all that. 57 wins is what I have to.
They won 57 without him last year.
They have to win 58 wins to get to this over. Yeah, last year they won 57. I mean,
don't act like Gordon Hayward's retirement. Sorry, I couldn't get through it. And they added Caruso. You know what? I will go over.
Yep.
This is the makings of a buzzsaw. I was really pumped about like having Hartenstein's passing and just brain power in the lineup. But honestly, Chet probably should play center anyway. So This is fine by me. Like that seems a little bit of a square peg round hole situation anyways, I think. But, I don't really know anything. But I thought he always looked better at center. And then I really think that the Jalen Williams leap will happen and they will have, because I don't like Shea in the
Is he
playoffs.
leaping again?
I think we can have I want to get to it. It's an actual Olympic sport, the triple jump. This is his third jump part of his leap. We're going to see final form of the Donko. And I'll go over, even though, I do think that is quite a number, but like Dave said, they did it last year and they are built to just feast on teams. And they're the type of team where Hartenstein's out or somebody's out, they can have a game from one of their many myriad players, including Alex Caruso, who can take over games in different ways. They have so many players who take over games that it's not fair.
Yeah, they're going to have maybe the best defense in the NBA. They're going to force so many turnovers. They're going to be hard to beat. But Dave, also, do you believe any of the trope about having a bullseye on their back? They will have a bullseye on their back, I think, this season more than last season, just because they're picked to comfortably, easily win the West. So what do you think about that?
I mean, maybe. But they also have the talent, right?
Yep,
This is not like and respect to your Grizzlies. This is not like the Grizzlies who, had a couple of guys and were upstart and yapping in the playoffs. Like OKC, were there any stories where it was like,
are you talking about the Grizzlies who ended that yapping season with the second best net rating in the league? Is that the same Grizzlies team?
Yeah.
Okay.
But this team last year was the best team in the West in the regular season.
Yeah.
As we mentioned, I think they got better. Shea has been shooting more threes off the dribble, which I think helps him quite a bit. Jalen Williams.
I just docked him a win for that, Dave.
If he takes another leap.
Yeah, if Shea isn't just getting to the basket at will and drawing fouls, then he's not really the amazing player.
I'm picking Shea for getting 4 stocks per game and living at the elbow jumper.
I think they're gonna. I think I've got them at 58 wins.
All right, so you're gonna.
I'm gonna take the over.
You guys are both over, so 2/3 over there. Do we have a wrestler, John?
Well, I think you made it clear. I was going to go with
Terry Funk.
Is it Stunning or Stone Cold Steve Austin? But I think we agree it looks like Stone Cold.
Stone Cold. It's Stone Cold. It's definitely Stone Cold.
The next
There's
team
no
is
stringy blonde hair.
That hair, man. The thing wrestlers have to do to their hair.
The next
be wet.
Team is the New Orleans Pelicans.
Keith, did you know that by the entrance of where the wrestlers come out, there is a giant trash can full of water that each wrestler dunks their head in and shares?
Really?
Disgusting.
That's amazing. Oh, that's fantastic. The New Orleans Pelicans, I guess, care that they picked up DeJounte Murray. I have the Pelicans, hot take alert, I guess. I have the Pelicans missing the play-in. Right now, they're my 11th seed in the West. So that makes them a comfortable under. This, my win prediction is 43 wins, and their over-under is 46.5. So it turns out I didn't mean to plant my flag, but I am way under on the Pelicans. And I would like to say to Pelicans and their fans, it's not about you. It's about other teams. There's other teams I'm quite into, and you're not one of them.
I think it's about them, man.
Okay. So 43 wins.
They lost players that were really important to them.
So Larry Nance Jr. not there anymore. They have no center. They got Daniel Tyson, Eves Missy. I guess. I mean,
Dyson Daniels is playing for the Hawks, and Hawks fans think it's an upgrade. They feel like they traded DeJounte for Tyson and won the trade.
If Herb Jones stays healthy and Zion stays healthy and Brandon Ingram forgives them for everything, maybe it'll work out. But I think this team might be kind of bad at defense. And meanwhile, Trey Murphy's out for a little bit. I have a hard time seeing them getting to they won 49 games last year, which is honestly. I've kind of memory hold. I don't remember that. Really? But yeah, I guess I'm just down on them compared to a bunch of other teams.
Marshall wins.
Yeah, Najee Marshall's gone. There's your podcast. Speaking of podcaster bingo, John.
Yes, they don't have regular season god Jonas Valanciunas anymore.
Yeah, that's true too. So yeah, 43 wins. But do either of you think they're getting to 47 wins for the over?
No, I have them under that. I had them at 44. Number one, the center thing is a huge deal. They're kind of small. They are long.
You don't like center small. Herb Jones?
No, I don't love that. I do love Herb Jones. Zion played 70 games last year. We
saw what we needed to see.
Let's see what happens. I don't want to, put that on him, but 70, that's a lot for him. So, can you count on that again? I think the West is just, you've got the Grizzlies coming. The West is just better. Houston's a little bit better. Golden State's a lot better.
So does that make us unanimous under?
I think so.
All right. Unanimous under.
I feel like
the Pelicans.
Dave, this is either the low key or Austin Aries of the NBA.
Now, these are not my guys.
What could have been?
Yeah. I would say the low key.
Yes, I thought they were going to be the. I used to love their roster so much.
Everybody's into that strong
I always
style.
went over and over again, and now I'm just like, meh.
Mm-hmm. Zion strong style, right?
Yeah,
never caught on.
Our next team, the Minnesota Timberwolves. I have the Timberwolves as my regular season 2 seed in the West, but I predict a very competitive West. Once again, not that many high win totals. I projected the Timberwolves to win 52 games. That turns out that's an under because their over under is 52.5. I have come around to really liking the Karl Anthony Towns trade. My initial reactions were mainly positive, but the more I thought about it, the more I sat with it. I'm like, I like picking up the extra role player or just rotation guy. I mean, Dante DiVincenzo is very, very good. He's like a super role player, but just picking up that extra guy on the wing, I feel like it's important for them, which is why I feel good about this team, but just not as enthusiastic to think they're going to win 53 games. So a 52.5 over under. Dave, what do you think?
I'm going to take the over.
Yep.
Rudy Gobert, regular season defense. I just think that gives you, just this high floor. We know I worry about their offense and like whether or not they're going to run it, but I think the defense will have such a high floor that they'll win games. They will score. I'm not quite sure who's going to help carry the scoring load. I mean, they're expecting some kind of breakout from Naz Reid.
Joe Ingles.
How about Julius Randle, who is not being mentioned?
Yeah, he could definitely carry the scoring load.
This is being referred to as the DiVincenzo trade right now, but also Julius Randle kind of fulfills a playmaking hole that they could use. I hate to bring up Shlomo, but he's gone. They need another secondary playmaker. I agree. I think this is an over. I think they won a lot more games than this number last year.
Yeah, they won 56 last year. Amazing regular season
Cat
last
did
year.
not play much last year.
Right.
He missed a ton of games. He also sucks. I don't like, this is a very easy over for me. I think they could win the most games in the Western Conference. I think they have a good coach. I think they have a good situation here. I think it would kind of if they don't hit this, isn't that kind of a disaster?
I don't think it's a disaster if they end up with the 2 seed. I just think it's all regular season wins they're technically meaningless. It's just basically where your seed is. We've had a 1 seed a couple years ago that had 52 wins. So, I mean, I'm having
a hard time picturing the 1s and 2 seeds having 52 wins and stuff like that. But I guess
that's what we've seen.
Possible.
Yeah. I mean, the Grizzlies were the 2 seed with 51 wins 2 years ago.
47 to 50 wins in the West is just gonna there's a good shot that
and that's
the 4
an
seed
achievement.
and the 10 seed are 3 or 4 games from each other. We're gonna be going to tiebreakers.
Yeah,
and I'm with you, Keith. This is the most unpredictable season since I started doing this. Right? If you think about it, predictable. If everything goes according to plan and no one's injured, I can tell you what's going to happen this year.
Dude, coach just wants to know who the champs are.
That stuff happens every single year though, right? And now there was a big push. I don't know if you guys saw it at The Athletic. There was a bunch of people wrote about parity because when we were sitting around talking about this upcoming season, this is the parity season. We've had 6 straight seasons with a different champ. So the odds are the Celtics, even though they look as dominant as any team that's won a title in the last few years, the odds are they're not going to repeat the way things have gone, just with attrition. So, it does feel like 53 might be the 2 seed.
Yep. So we're 2/3 over on the Timberwolves. The next team is my Memphis Grizzlies, and we'll get to them right after this short break. All right, John, let's talk about our Grizzlies, and then we'll invite Dave to
I don't want to be around anymore.
This is an over-under that had been spoiled for me. I've heard this over-under.
So.
You don't know what it is? Do you want to guess what you think the over-under is for the Grizzlies?
44 games.
Yeah, I would say 46.
Yeah, that'd be great. Their over-under is 47.5. That's the same as the Suns. They are consistently in every sports book, and they have been for almost the entire offseason. They have the 5th best win total numbers. They have the 5th best implied odds for winning the West. The sports books think, or at least they project them, they're the team that's just outside of that Timberwolves, Thunder, Nuggets, Mavericks. They think the Grizzlies are next. John, you said 44 wins. I felt like their over-under should be right about there. I think they should have a 45.5, maybe over-under win total. I am too close to the situation to be able to talk about rationally. Yes. A month ago, I was super optimistic about the Grizzlies and their bounce back.
A lot has changed.
Since we lost Vince Williams Jr., who I thought was a regular season wins adder, he's going to come back, we think, in November. So he's not going to miss that many games. But right now, Luke Kennard's hurt. Luke Kennard's always hurt. John Morant, healthy. Marcus Smart, healthy. Those guys battle injuries all the time. The second unit, and this is going to be a theme going forward with some of the teams we haven't hit yet. I think when Ja and Jaren are off the court, and by the way, Jaren missed all of preseason with a hamstring injury. I think when Ja and Jaren are off the court and they're playing some of these other West teams, they're going to get roasted. And that bothers me when it comes to regular season win totals. They also overhauled their entire coaching staff, which is like, we're installing a new offense. And it's like, I know fans spin that as optimism. I spin that as, that sounds scary. So
you know what it is?
What is it?
It's the last domino before Taylor gets the
right. So because of that, I mean, I've obviously tipped my hand. I have the Grizzlies at 45 wins, which makes them a massive under. Turns out, I have them, tied right now for the eighth best record.
Two under.
So 2.5. The over is 47.5. I feel like, of course, they could get there. If John Morant plays 70 games and Desmond Bane plays 70 games and Jaren Jackson Jr. plays 70 games, but what's the probability that occurs? And then you can't endure any other injuries to anybody else on the roster, and you're already starting so shorthanded that it makes me nervous about racking up these regular season wins. And by the way, they have 6 games in the first 9 days of the season. They have 2 sets of back-to-backs. John, we're going to need your Zach Edey. We're going to need the edification to carry us.
Edification is going to take a minute.
So because of that, I don't like the odds of them being a 49 or 50 win team. It's possible, but with this stacked Western Conference, it feels more likely to me they end up under the number of 47.5. Dave, what are your non-Grizzlies fans' opinion of that number, 47.5?
I think that's a high number in the West.
It's a big number.
Is Zach Edey the rookie of the year?
Yes.
Cool. Yeah,
it could be.
We'll take that, right? No, I just think that's too high of a number in the West. This team is a little bit of a mystery to me because we just haven't seen them, right? Like last year was the year from not even somewhere different, right?
33
like somewhere way more
players.
Creative, right? Yeah.
33 players.
So I don't know. They are a team that, I don't have a good feel for, I
don't think anybody
how many times
does.
You see a player miss a lot of a season and come back and things just aren't the same. And I'm not saying that's going to be the case with John, but it could be. Or what if he's been found out? Like there's this, things change so fast. And I think players evolve on the court, obviously with play. And there's something to playing through seasons and being a different player at the end of that season and being able to grow. I just don't know how you do that without NBA competition. This isn't a guy who's like year 8 who missed half a season. Like this is a guy who's still developing.
Year 6? Why is year 6 that much different than year 8?
Well, then you hope that he's getting. Well, he just missed year 5.
He took a sabbatical. He should be so fresh.
Yeah. If he misses half of year or most of year 8, it's different than missing year 5.
He did have surgery, right? That did happen.
He had shoulder surgery
because I also have convinced myself that he was just chilling.
John, what are your thoughts? Nervous, John, you're a huge Zach Edey believer. What are your thoughts on the win total?
Well, first of all, since Zach Edey and now I think we have another Asian player that we just signed.
We signed Yuki Kawamura, who made 20, who's 5'8" and made 21% of his field goal attempts in the preseason.
So, Dave, do you think that the Grizzlies resemble more? I'm going to use the great Muta.
I knew you were going Muta.
Who had, for the layperson, looked like a tantalizing world beater that was set to take the wrestling world by storm in 1989? Or are they really just Tajiri, an interesting role player who also sprays poisonous mist into their opponents, or maybe shoots laser beams into their friends' eyes? I'm worried that we are Tajiri.
I think Tajiri.
I'm going to make a prediction. I think the Grizzlies have issues that can only be solved one way, the most excellent way, the way I believe in above all others when it comes to the NBA They need to fire that coach.
I thought you were going to say cage match.
I think the Grizzlies are going to be just good enough to probably not have to fire the coach, but there's no way I'm having them over 47.5. This is an under to me. And I actually think with the injuries to Vince Williams, and if it's not truly a completely overhauled offense, I'm super worried. Like if they are going to stick Zach Edey in the corner to fire threes, this is going to be a disaster.
So Zach Edey did have a ton of post-ups, it turns out, in the preseason. After the first couple games, they didn't give him post-ups. He's scoring a ridiculous number on those post-ups. But also a big issue is the Grizzlies just shooting. They don't have 3-point shooting. Right. And they're starting multiple guys, Ja Morant, Marcus Smart, Jaren Jackson Jr. Those three guys over the past 4 seasons, they're all 33% or worse from the 3-point line. And Luke Kennard's already hurt. And there is no evidence right now that a team can shoot 35, 36% as a team from 3.
Does Yuki Kawamura shoot from 3?
And be good. He looks amazing at the Olympics shooting from 3, not so much in the preseason. But like, last year, the only team that was any good, that was below average at 3-point shooting, was the Magic. And they lost in the first round to the Cavaliers because they couldn't score. The only team I believe that was league average or worse to win a playoff series last year, it was the Cavaliers, who beat the Magic. The only other playoff team that was a worse 3-point shooting team. So just the 3-point shooting math doesn't work.
To me, the G.G. Jackson, Vince Williams injuries cascade effect was so much more dramatic than I even imagined possible. I'm putting so much stock into Marcus Smart throwing one lob to Ja Morant because I don't think that they are the type of guys to play all that well together. I don't know. I have like a bad feeling. It's messing with my
I think we're scarred. We're scarred. That's why you have a bad feeling. Yeah.
Yeah.
If your fifth starter being out to start the season has you this worried,
I think they're going to be bad at rebounding and bad at shooting. And the math doesn't work to win 48 games.
At shooting, they need the offensive rebounding. This has actually been like one of the things that the team was smart about, was always having like Steven Adams as, hey, go in there, get a bunch of rebounds.
I think too much is being made of like Edey's preseason rebounding. I think he will be at least Steven Adams if they use him, especially if they use him.
You just said he'll be at least the best rebounder in the NBA.
No,
Steven Adams is the best rebounder.
I think as far as his impact to the team, he can be that much of a plus, but I just don't have the confidence that we'll like regularly use him in that way. Like, I think they view him more as like a special feature or a tool you use in certain situations, and that's not really going to be all that helpful.
So
and there's also
bring him in on goal line sets.
Yeah, right. These wildcat packages. What I want to happen, what I think are going to happen, are such profoundly different things that I'm just hoping to enjoy the ride, I guess. Like, I do think it's such if you're a Grizzlies fan, you're playing with house money because you got all your toys back.
Yeah.
We haven't played with them in so long.
We'll see how it goes.
But it does feel like a collection of misfit toys to me right now.
Also, John, we're on year 5 of Ja Morant, Desmond Bane, and Jaren Jackson Jr., and Jake LaRavia and John Conchar are still going to be playing on opening night.
See, that's the stuff. Another thing, Dave, if you're a Grizzlies fan, you have so little faith in the people behind it that you just expect them to cock it up. Like, I don't think Jake LaRavia should be a Grizzly. I don't think Conchar should be a Grizzly. Like, but here we are in meaningful minutes.
Let's hit the final 6 teams. Maybe
we're in the weeds.
Pick up our pace a little bit. The Los Angeles,
my car is not parked on the street today, so we're not.
The Los Angeles Lakers. This was shocking to me, honestly. This is one of the overrunners that actually surprised me. I picked the Lakers to be the 10th team in the Western Conference. I picked them to have 44 wins. That is an over. Even with Laker fan boosting the line, their over-under is 43 and a half.
I don't think I've ever seen you shocked by a Lakers over before.
I'm a half game over. They won way more than this last year, but of course LeBron and AD were essentially healthy all season. What do you guys think about 43 and a half? Dave, what do you think about over under 43? That's so low. It's weird how low that is, right?
It's low. And look, they're not bad. Like, again, this team is they're only going to go as far as LeBron and AD can carry them, but those guys are really good. So if they're healthy, I think that they're 45, 46 wins. Again, the
Yeah.
West being what it is. And this is a team that in the playoffs, they get the right matchup. You could see them winning, get in the second round, conference finals. I don't know if they've got the shooting for, but the shooting is going to be their big concern. Although, and I don't want to say that Dalton Connect is going to greatly contribute right away, but he looks pretty good in the preseason, right?
Do it.
But he's going to probably have to play, and that's not a great position to be in if you're the Lakers because they need his shooting. Like they need shooters.
I don't think, Dave, I'm surprised. I don't think they have much of any chance of winning a playoff series. But I do think winning 44 games is absolutely achievable and probable. John, you love your boy Dalton Connect, who had a massive preseason game. He tied for the most field goal attempts in preseason. Congratulations.
He'll probably do that 4 times this year.
Okay. Wow.
And that means a lot more in the not that specifically, and that means a lot more in the collegiate ranks when there are like a third as many games. I don't know how much Dalton Connect going off 4 times in an 82 game season does for the Lakers, but he's a very feast or famine, really fun player. So I was super ready to go under, and this number has messed everything up.
Yeah,
because it's so low.
That's
I kind of can't figure out what to do. I think I'm going to go over for motivational reasons.
Because I
think LeBron is so motivated to make this LeBron-y thing not look foolish. And then also he got to pick the coach, and he kind of can't take any games off this year because this is all his machinations. And if they don't do well, he looks like a fool. However, I do think LeBron lives like kind of in his own world, and nothing that matters can really affect his mindset. So maybe I'm coming at this from a foolish place, but you were going to...
John, I'm just going to say, based on things you've told me before, all the public money has to be on the over here.
Absolutely.
And also that line makes me feel like the guys running the casinos know that LeBron James is secretly dying or something like that number is so low. It's like, what's going on?
This is a number that would give you pause if you were trying to bet this over.
So
I would call this a stay away number. I would never bet this actually.
No. We walked into the trap, John. We're unanimous over. So
I'm really disgusted that I'm going to bet the over on JJ Redick's team. But I
was going to say, how much of this number is about JJ?
That's not a vote of confidence by George.
Well, at the very least, JJ's going back to the starting lineup that beat up on the Grizzlies 2 years ago, the team or the 5-man unit that like Darvin Ham refused to play for like half of the season last year. So at least that should work a little bit, I think.
I think this roster is pretty gruesome. So Dave, I posit to you that is this Adrian Adonis a bloated carcass that is propped up by the work rate and beauty of LeBron and AD, or is it Rick the model Martell specifically, where we're perfuming
arrogance? I don't think they're good enough to perfume arrogance. So I think it's Adrian Adonis.
Oh man. I think we might rue this. This might be the rare triple whiff, boys.
Yeah. The Los Angeles Clippers, I looked at their line last week when I was prepping for the Eastern Conference. This
probably is not on the board.
It keeps going down. It's on the board as of right now. I think I had put the Clippers at 36 wins, but and it was an under last week, and I was feeling good. It's now an over, but I'm gonna call an audible. I'm gonna keep sliding it down. I think the Clippers. I mean, I got Kawhi Leonard for $4 in a fantasy draft, so I've started praying for his knee. It felt like a bargain I couldn't pass up. But this team, not a lot of hope here. So I'm going to say 35 wins and take the narrowest of unders. Their over-under is currently 35.5. And again, it's gone down like 4 wins in the past month, I'm pretty sure. So
I'm going to take the over.
Okay.
The lack of incentive.
Correct.
It's a big key here, right?
No incentive.
Like they don't have their draft pick for maybe the rest of our lifetime. I'm not even sure, right? It's so far out. It's not on the page on Real GM when you go and look. So they just have no incentive to lose, which means they're going to win some games that they maybe shouldn't. That's just what happens, right? Tanking teams don't win those games. 36, 37 wins feels like doable for this team. James Harden's had a really good year last year. I think Zoo is really good. They're not. It's a kind of a scrappy team. Like, I don't know if you guys watched them in preseason. It looks kind of like the Clippers team with Lou Williams and those guys before Kawhi and PG, where, and I think that Ty Lue's a good enough coach to wring the most out of him. So 37,
Keith,
yeah, I'm taking it over.
Guys, you just blew my mind when you said 37. This is the easiest over by far. It's not close. We're carrying that much. We're giving they won 50 something games last year. We're going to give them 15 games because Kawhi isn't playing, who barely plays anyways. What is even happening?
You're aware of a guy named Paul George, right? Paul George and Kawhi both not there. This team had horrible. This team won that many games last year and was like, what was the? They were like -8 net rating when Paul George was off the court.
How many games did those guys play together last year? Was it some number that I'm not thinking?
A lot.
Yeah, okay.
Kawhi got his money, man. Kawhi played last year
in January.
Yeah, Kawhi played last year. The most games he's played in like 6 seasons. So did Paul George. They both got money. So Paul George got paid. And he's hurt. Not sure that's going to work out that amazing.
But if they win 37 games,
yeah, they're an over.
Steve Ballmer has traded everyone this is they're trying to justify all this money spent. They don't have. They
have to. I'm with you. They have to avoid the very bottom dregs of the lottery because they don't own their pick. But like teams don't normally even win this amount of games. It's like the rare exception, because like normally you pull the plug. And so you either win 30 or you win 40 or more. And so I do think they're going to be mid-30s because they don't have anything else. But like we're talking about a team that's like hoping Zubac scores 17 a game and Norm Powell makes it through the season. And they've turned over the car keys to James Harden and said, James Harden, you're Luka Doncic.
I hope everybody picked up Norm Powell.
I don't see it. But so I saw you pondering the things we were saying, John. Are you sticking with your over?
Well, I think just maybe not paying as much attention last year. I didn't realize that Paul George and Kawhi Leonard were capable of playing lots of games together.
They did it. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I don't feel strong.
I'm still going to go over. I guess I can't say it's like easy money slam dunk, but James Harden is still really awesome, especially until the playoffs.
Yep.
I think they have a decent coach. I think Zubac is good.
Great coach. I think Zubac is good.
Their defense may be okay.
They have no shooting, period. They don't have any shooting.
Like, didn't they get Derek Jones? Is he shooting? He started for the Mavs.
No, he shoots when he's playing the Thunder.
Okay.
He hits shots against the Thunder in the playoffs.
I'm trying to backpedal my way into justifying my selection.
I don't mind. Tyler's a great coach.
Russell Westbrook is gone.
There you go. That's a good one. All right, let's do the Rockets. The Rockets were, somewhat surprising. 500 team last season. I am a big believer in the Houston Rockets.
How could you not be?
I think the Houston Rockets, basically any 5-man combination of their top 11 guys is good. Like on paper, love it. Watching preseason games, I was like, yep, that's what I expected. They look amazing. I think the Rockets are going to make the play-in at minimum. I felt like I was being conservative and try not to anger people. I have them the same number of wins as the Grizzlies. I have them with 45 wins, which honestly, it's only a slight over. Their over-under number is 43.5, but I deeply fear the Rockets. I think the Rockets could finish in the top 6. I believe big time in Fred VanVleet and in Şengün and just some of those guys taking a step. I mean, I think Jabari Smith Jr. is good. I don't know about Reed Shepherd, rookie, but who knows? But like their top 10 looks good. And Steven Adams is even playing. I think they are going to I think their second unit is going to destroy teams. And for me, that's a formula for hitting the regular season win total of 45. Dave, what do you think about the Rockets?
I got them at 45 wins too. All the reasons you laid out. And I'm actually really high on Reed Shepherd.
Yeah.
He's a rookie. He's a rookie. And, that guy like really stands out. And I think being able to bring that guy off the bench, like you said, with Steven Adams,
dude. It's going to be
They've got
so good,
athletes.
I think.
They have
Reed Shepard
athletes.
should have
They
been
can
the second
defend.
pick in the draft after Zach Edey.
Yeah,
Um,
I've got
do you
45
guys
minutes.
are you guys ever concerned that like so the Rockets are my league pass team, which I think is most people's league pass team, and they were a team I kept watching last year when I kind of whittled down to my West Coast teams as I want to do because I'm awake and I work on the West Coast and it's easier for me to do. Um, they look better when Şengün does not play.
I've said that sentence before because they had a winning streak last year, but I'm just a believer that they're going to make it all work. And I think Şengün is a very talented player.
He's so cool and
Yep.
he's so fun, but they do seem more lean and mean when he's not around to me. But I guess that's not enough to. I'm also, this is another easy over for me. I think the Rockets are like, also the Rockets, like all these things that we say about other teams' off seasons, like the Suns and the Warriors and everyone, like the Rockets offseason is also just as awesome, like the last couple of years, like just finding perfect people to put in these spots. And you brought up Van Vliet, and even we made fun of Dylan Brooks so much when he left, but like he had an awesome offensive year for him.
Yeah.
Like they just have all these pieces that are perfect. And how do you score on those buzzsaws that they have ranging around?
They seemingly have like full buy-in from like Dylan is all about whatever Ime Udoka's offering up.
Yeah.
Jalen Green, who's not going to get an extension probably today. Jalen Green seems like he has buy-in, and they're going to get, I think, great stuff from him. And like Amin Thompson, I loved him as a rookie, and I just think this team has so many ways they can play, and also their defense is going to be good, and they're so deep. Yeah, what are you saying, John?
Like I watched a bunch of Rockets. Like I don't even think about Amin Thompson. That's how good they are. They have guys like that who are kind of non-factors to me. Like they have like I think more about Tari Eason than I do about Amin Thompson. Like they have just like kind of studs waiting in the wings. Also, like I know Fred VanVleet can put up some weird numbers that make him look not that sexy sometimes. He is awesome.
He's a really good player.
He is a great NBA player, and he's been great at every level he's ever played. And he's just like a winning, meaningful player. I think I would be stunned if the Rockets were bad.
Their front office is collecting beyond the best young talent in the draft.
Yeah, assets.
They're also just picking up winning players.
Yeah.
I think Dylan Brooks is a winning player. I think Steven Adams is a winning player. I think Fred VanVleet's a winning player. And they're just collecting. I mean, I feel like they're running laps around other teams in the team building. Dave,
well, then they have all these young assets. They could make a consolidation trade.
Like, they could.
Imagine a scenario where Jaylen Brown asks out.
Or Kevin Durant.
Houston, right. Kevin Durant. Then
Houston Jimmy Butler.
See, that's really interesting because, like, I do think of this team as like regular season only. Like, but that's what we're doing here.
I'm not in on yet for a playoff team. Like, but regular season only.
It's going a little bit more like baseball now because of the parity. And I think that if you just, it's all about that high floor. High floor, a lot of guys that you could potentially package with picks, and you go get Kevin Durant, Jaylen Brown, whatever it is, and that's what puts you over the top. I mean, look at what Dallas did last year, where they really remade their team on the fly, and it put them over the top.
I hate it.
So speaking of a lot of guys,
interesting.
Speaking of a lot of guys, our next team, the Golden State Warriors. Dave, we've been praising the Warriors offseason for a while. Unsurprisingly, I am a massive over. Their over-under is 43.5. I have them at 47 wins. The only way this could go wrong is that a very old Steph Curry doesn't play that many games, which is very possible. That is the one thing that has me nervous. This team went undefeated in the preseason, smoking teams. I firmly believe in their depth. I think their defense, much like the Rockets, is going to be awesome. And I think just all the extra possessions they're going to generate by being one of the best rebounding teams and one of the best turnover forcing teams is going to be plenty good enough for them to pass this number. We've been insane, Dave, you and me, just about like the depth pickups. John, we've talked less about it. How do you feel about this number? And also my unbridled enthusiasm, which of course is because they signed my two favorite players in the offseason.
Did you say the number? I'm sorry.
43.5.
That seems about right. I feel like I'm high on the Warriors, but that seems correct. Um, but I can foresee if Steph is healthy, and I think he's extremely motivated, and I think Draymond is extremely motivated, I could see them being much better than that. So I guess just on that possibility, I'm gonna have to start taking some unders soon because I've taken so many overs.
Yeah.
Um, I have to take this over, even though they got Buddy Hield, who's the
They
worst.
they won 46 games last year, despite Draymond being suspended for a lot of it. And I truly believe in the aggregate, they got better by moving on from Klay Thompson. Like
Yeah.
Klay Thompson does not defend and was just a one-dimensional chucker.
Yeah, I mean,
He was killing their offense at times, also chucking. The Draymond thing is huge.
Yeah.
Andrew Wiggins had like all these personal problems. I mean, obviously he lost his dad, that's been something that's been hanging over them for like the last couple seasons. Hopefully he bounces back. Kevon Looney looks incredible. You want to talk about somebody being in shape?
He's on that Nurkic diet.
He looks great, and hopefully he can have a little bit of a bounce back. They played him and Trace Jackson Davis together a little bit. I was very interested in a big sort of lineup for the Warriors. I just think they have so much flexibility. They have 11 guys who can play. They have Steph Curry. I have them at like 49, maybe 50 wins.
Woo!
And I mean,
I think it's really possible.
Listen,
Another amazing.
I think they can make a conference finals. I just think when you can defend like this, and I think they're going to score better. They're talking about shooting way more threes, like being more intentional about that.
Yeah.
Buddy Hield, I know you can't stand him, but he's prolific. And when you've got a guy like that next to Steph.
Also, like Buddy doesn't hurt your offense the way Klay actually hurt their offense.
Right.
So the biggest limbs I've gone out on based on the Vegas numbers, it's just I have a big belief in the Warriors and a big belief in the Rockets. Although I guess the Rockets, I'm only a game and a half over, but like I feel like both of those teams would not surprise me at all if they finish top 6. So it sounds like we're all very high. We're all unanimous over on the Rockets. We're unanimous over on the Warriors. The Denver Nuggets.
We may be high.
We might be.
We'll see.
The Denver Nuggets. I have them as my 4th seed. I think there's going to be a drop off. I do not believe in their offseason. I do not believe in the replacing of Kentavious Caldwell-Pope with a bunch of nobodies. No offense, Julian Strawther. I know he had a big preseason, but like, I don't think this team is going to be deep enough for the rigors of this regular season, despite Jokic being one of my favorite players. I picked them to have 50 wins as the 4 seed, and that's an under at 50.5 wins. Dave, what do you think about an over-under of 50.5 for the Nuggets?
Yeah, I like them at 49.50 again, so I've got them at the under. Christian Brown that's like the huge question mark. He has to shoot. That spot in that lineup has to shoot. So whoever it is, whether it winds up being Strawther or Christian Brown or whoever they're going to put out there, Peyton Watson, that person's going to have to shoot and they're going to have to make. And I just don't think they've got anybody to fill that spot. I don't know that they've got the assets to be able to go out and find a guy. Those guys don't grow on trees. And then, honestly, man, I'm just giving them 50 wins is me saying I think Jokic is still the best player in the world, and I think he is 50 wins by himself. That's where I'm at with it. Not that he doesn't have some complementary pieces. I think MPJ could have a nice bounce back season, but he has to defend for them. Aaron Gordon's in a contract year. That could get tricky. The Jamal Murray stuff, I think, is a massive question mark. Massive. And he just got paid.
I mean, the Jamal Murray questions, you say MPJ could have a big year, but like did he play 80 games last year?
Yeah.
I don't know. So Dave and I both slightly under the Nuggets 50.5 win total. What do you think about a 50.5 win total for the Denver Nuggets and our guy Jokic?
I'm under, and it's a Jamal Murray under.
Yeah.
This is a team that put all their chips in on Jamal Murray as opposed to, or just to try to, okay, so this reminds me exactly of, and I know the Grizzlies didn't have the level of success that the Nuggets did, but when the Grizzlies decided we can replace everyone ever through the draft, and we don't need to keep people together, and we don't need to add proven players. The Nuggets have also done this. They were just backed up by the best player in the league, and that afforded them success. But I don't see how it can be sustainable. And I think also because I may have even missed it. This is the over under like 49, 50.
50.5.
So yeah, I just think Nuggets will still be awesome, but now their second best player is Jamal Murray, who may not be good anymore.
I mean, I'm even not even envisioning that. I assume Jamal Murray is going to be fine. I just have so little belief in the rest of it. But I'm saying if he's not fine,
he was even
they're going to win. They're going to win 44 games, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, although that's probably wrong because Jokic carried Facundo Campazzo to how many wins?
Yeah.
So maybe you're right. Maybe Jokic all by himself.
Like 44 games.
I can't
by himself.
I hate the fact we'll never see Jamal Murray not playing with Nikola Jokic. We'll never know. I mean, we saw Canada and it was ugly. But
I think we do know, man. I think we do know. I think Jamal Murray is just a guy.
The Dallas Mavericks are our last team.
Jamal Murray or Tobias Harris, Dave?
I'll take Jamal. I'll take Jamal.
Ooh, the last team is the Dallas Mavericks. I have the Mavericks as the 3 seed coming off their Western Conference title or their finals trip last season. This surprised me a little bit. You know, I've been a little bit reserved with handing out win totals. I gave the Mavericks 51 wins as my 3rd seed. It turns out that's an over. Their over-under is 49.5. Why is their over-under so low? John, why is the Mavericks over-under not at least 50.5?
I guess it would be sort of a tempering of expectations. Like, I was going to ask Dave if the Mavericks are Bryan Danielson or the Ultimate Warrior. Is this a sustained run of excellence that is one of the greatest of all times? Or is this a flash in the pan? Because to me, it felt like everything broke right finally for Dallas. And I love their acquisitions. And they finally did get some guys together who made for a winning combination. But are they going to be able to do this year after year? That's like a large question.
Okay, let me reverse. I mean, I think the Ultimate Warrior had a bigger peak than Bryan Danielson, right? So,
yeah.
This team is definitely an Ultimate Warrior-like team. I think that they are going to sprint through the regular season. I think the motivation to get Luka an MVP is there. Now, he didn't play in the preseason, and he's going to maybe be starting the season banged up, but he puts up these numbers in his sleep. I think that they could have a big regular season and be kind of like the Pacers, where they're going to be able to score so much that maybe the defense doesn't matter as much for them in the regular season, and they can win 53, 54 games. But I worry about them big time come playoffs, and that's a whole another story. But I think they should be able to win regular season games.
I'm the exact opposite. I don't think they care about the regular season as much. I think they're scary come playoff time.
I think a shooter like Clay at that volume he's going to shoot, I think it's just going to create so many open looks for PJ Washington, so many rim runs for Derek Lively. I mean, this is stuff that they just didn't have in their offense last year. They're going to get easier looks.
I mean, I think the defensive questions are fair when you say who's going to guard your best player now. Maybe Najee Marshall steps that up. Podcaster bingo checked. Yeah. But like this team is it fair to call this team a juggernaut based on how they played last year after the trade deadline? I feel like they were a juggernaut.
They were like, percentage.
Well, once they got PJ Washington and once they got Daniel Gafford, they were great last year. And now they've added to that some extra pieces that a lot of people think they're going to help out. I don't know why they would fall back. They won 50 games last season. I don't know. I think it's, I'm going with the over. What were y'all pick? What were y'all's picks? I didn't write them down. John, did you say
I'm
over?
I'm going over on the Mavs.
Okay, Dave, over.
I'll go under because I'm not going to get trapped by this Lakers weird line thing again.
John, is this your first Doncic under? I feel like this might be your first Doncic under.
I'm still going to pick him. I'm still going to pick him to make noise in the playoffs. Though.
All right.
I don't know if Dave knows what a Doncic truther I am, but I think he's the best player.
All right. So let's recap.
I mean, we'll talk about World Cup.
Let's recap our picks. This is terrible. We were unanimous on 8 picks of the 15. I don't think it's ever happened before in the conference. So we were very uniform in our thinking, but we went 2/3 under on the Jazz, unanimous under on the Spurs. Go ahead and get that one in, boys, until they before they change the line. 2/3 under on the Kings, 2/3 over on the Trailblazers, lowly 22.5 win total. We were unanimous over on the Suns, 2/3 over on the Thunder, unanimous under on the Pelicans, 2/3 over on the Timberwolves, unanimous under on our Grizzlies, unanimous over on the Lakers, 2/3 under on the Clippers, unanimous over Rockets, unanimous over Warriors, unanimous under Nuggets, 2/3 over on the Mavericks. And now
I want to switch my Denver and Dallas's to overs.
wait. All right. That's fine. So we are now unanimous.
When you were going through all
10.
of the teams, all the teams, I kept thinking all these teams did this like giant double big man thing to try to stop Denver. It barely worked. And now they're taking a step back. Denver's going to go crazy again.
All right. So now we're unanimous over on the Nuggets, on the Mavericks, and 2/3 under on the Nuggets. To wrap up the show, it is now time for the awards segment of the program. This is very important. The International Stackhouse of Pancakes Award.
Is it Sabrina Ionescu?
It is a special award has been given to the 1 for 19 in the Game 5 of the NBA, a deciding Game 5 of the WNBA Finals. No, these are actually preseason awards. Just a few names to recognize for their overall body of work this preseason. Some honorable mentions: a guy named Isaiah Stevens, 1 for 10 in the preseason. Jalen Pickett, who's going to be one of those bench guys the Nuggets depend on, was 2 for 14 in the preseason. Kobe Jones, part of the Sacramento Kings lineup that featured 3 Joneses and 2 Ellises. Kobe Jones was 3 for 17 in the preseason. And then we already mentioned Tim Hardaway Jr. was 4 for 23 in the preseason. But I would like to acknowledge the following 3 players for being horrible in the preseason. 1, a guy named Jalen Bridges of the Suns. I'll be honest, not sure who that is. 1 for 18 from the field in his 5 preseason games. That is absolutely astounding. AJ Johnson, rookie for the Bucks. I'm never going to get over this. AJ Johnson in the preseason on 2-pointers, 5 for 32. That's 16%. How do you even do that?
That's sub Tim Hardaway Jr. numbers.
That is stunning. He shot 3 for 14 on threes, which is 21%, which raised his field goal percentage. He overall 8 for 46 on field goal attempts in the preseason. Oh, by the way, his teammates, Tyler Smith, also rookie, and then Andre Jackson, project draft pick from last year. Those 3 guys combined to go 17 for 86 in the preseason. Should there be an investigation? That is unbelievable.
We should change all their first names to Jonte.
Andre Jackson was 3 for 15. Tyler Smith was 6 for 25. And finally, I'd like to acknowledge Baylor Shireman of the Celtics was 4 for 24 from the field in the preseason. Absolutely incredible stuff. But none of you guys are touching AJ Johnson with maybe the worst. I mean, that's Alexander Sarr Summer League numbers right there. 8 for 46. Incredible stuff. Keep up the good work. Bucks, happy with taking that slam bang under. Turns out Middleton is not going to be available for opening night on Wednesday. And with that, guys, we did it. The NBA season starts tomorrow. I'm very, very excited to see how that will go. All of you out there, thank you for listening. If you want to support this program, do that at patreon.com/Fastbreak Breakfast. All right. You guys are the best. Thanks for listening. And remember, breakfast is the most important thing.
Yeah, never apologize for being G&G. Fastbreak break, man. You understand?
I will remember.